Parsing Grays, episode 10. Who would have thought?
Me!
You did. I was betting against the odds, but we did it. A lot of people were betting against the odds as well, but we proved them wrong.
Even
Armoranth
we
has a
didn't believe
new
it.
mic. Armoranth, say hello to people with your new mic.
Hello, everybody. Now you can finally hear me.
Yeah. Nobody's going to complain ever again about your voice being low. You're
Yeah.
only going to complain about your shitty takes on everything, but yeah, you know. You
Oh,
can't
that
do
happens.
anything about that. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Now they
So
actually hear that, so.
yeah, special episode tonight or today. So
Yes.
Yaz, will you do the honors and explain to us what we're going
can
to
I
do tonight?
Alright, since everyone knows we have the hardcore servers coming up this week's Thursday, we have a huge honor to welcome Ironbiscuit, who has been part of the stuff since the beginning, and Chaosend, who has been part of that since the beginning up till this day. And he is also still really active and leading all this shit that is going on with the hardcore stuff. Thank you so much for coming!
Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, look, happy to be here.
So how about you each take some time and introduce yourselves and what you've been doing in game, and also what you've talk about a little bit about the server, and then we can jump into the meaty and greedy.
Yeah, let's go alphabetically. Chaos, do the honors.
You Barmy, so I am Chaosend. I've been playing WoW since whenever TBC was first released. Came back into Classic. Didn't do much in normal Classic, just sort of potted around a bit. And then ended up getting hooked onto Hardcore during Season of Mastery. And oh, what rides it's been. I've died more times than I can care to count. I've died to some stupid stuff, some really stupid stuff. But that's mostly been me. I spent a bit of time doing softcore on TBC and Wrath when it came out, just because TBC and Wrath are amazing. But I've always sort of popped back every now and then, you know, when you've hit that max character and you're like, oh, do I want to make another? Oh, no, I want to play hardcore. And that's me, even right now, 2 days before launch, I'm sat here playing Wrath hardcore because I don't think I can play normal WoW anymore. Hardcore is everything.
I see. It's like porn.
Yeah, exactly. I've managed to hit 80 in Wrath hardcore. I had a 60 on Era, and we were raiding BWL, which is where unfortunately my priest died. And I've just sort of been loitering around waiting for the official servers to come out now.
Awesome. What about you, Ironbiscuit?
Right. Well, I'm Ironbiscuit. I did raid. I'm on and off raider in Spark since Hydraxian and currently in Mirage. As well joined back into WoW Classic after playing it on and off since the original TBC. But in Classic, I think it was early Blackwing Lair when I realized that I really didn't enjoy the game anymore at all, and I figured I have 10 days left. I'll let it slide and then quit. And during those 10 days, I found out about hardcore, tried it out, and I still have my subscription active, and really liked hardcore. Currently been quite busy with IRL stuff. I haven't been gaming as much as I would like to, but just like Chaos said, hardcore really changed the way I approach WoW. And yeah, I was a GM in the Classic HC guild in 2020 in autumn. Pretty much quite close to these days actually, like 3 years ago, when I was I was a living character in the guild when the GM died, and I got passed with the GM duties, and I took them up. Almost a year after that, I became moderator in the hardcore community, run a lot of the EU stuff, in the end appeal stuffs. And,
that's going to be interesting.
I
want to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
And after Road to Ragnaros, I kind of burnt out and I quit hardcore as active as I've been. I've like popped in and out maybe once or twice after it, but I've been under the radar when it comes to hardcore after that. Enjoying looking how the community has grown.
Right, right. So for me, an outsider who has never tried hardcore ever, I've only been watching videos of people dying, really, because they're very entertaining.
You quite enjoy those.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun.
Me as well.
They,
Yeah.
they make me feel better, you know, for myself. But anyway, what is it that makes it for you guys? Is it the thrill of dying, or what is it that makes you come back to it?
It's you ever play those games where it's like the RPG games where there's multiple choices, and they advertise it to you saying no playthrough will ever be the same because you've got so many different things you can do.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. Yes, all the quests are the same, but it's just doing certain things can always change. Like just playing well, random loot drops, things like that. You've got to think now. What we're using now is essentially a solo self-found hardcore, which is this was a rule set that was made for a solo sort of play. This is a little separate to what's about to be released, but currently the rule set for the solo self-found hardcore is you cannot trade, you cannot use the auction house, you cannot use the mailbox. So
Wow.
you've got to think everything you pick up is, you've got to, if you think of bag space. You make a new character. What's the first thing you do when you get to a mailbox? You mail yourself some bags, so you've got plenty of bag space. You don't have that. You've got to rely on picking up that random 6 slotter from a few mobs, or you're level 15 and suddenly you pick up a green item that's got like 6 strength on it as your warrior, and it's amazing. It just makes you go, oh, picking up an epic item in softcore just from the world was great. But now you're on this one life character, and suddenly you pick up something like, I don't know, let's say you're playing a rogue, and you happen to pick up, you're one of those lucky people that picks up flipping, Alcor Summers or Shadowblade or something like that as you're in the world. That is an amazing, and you're just, it makes you feel great. Like, oh my god, it's amazing! I've got this item, and that's what draws you in. You keep, no matter how many times you can play through it. Like I've had characters where by the time I'm level 4, I've picked up 4 6-slot bags. So I'm already kitted to go. I'm like, yeah, this is the run. I then died 4 levels later.
Yeah. Was that the red bag? Because everyone are kind of afraid of that.
People keep saying it's the red bag, it's the black bag. No,
Yeah.
it's not. But
you will die. You will die if you do that.
But then I've had characters that I've leveled to 30 plus, and I've never found a bag drop, and I've had to buy them.
Oh.
So it's just little things like that just make it go. It's worth replaying because it is the quests and the areas you go are the same, but the stuff you pick up is that makes it, oh my god! And there's so much to find in the world that you might not know, that this little vendor that's tucked away in the corner somewhere that you never knew about, and he's actually got like a level 20 two-handed sword that's going to last you like 10 levels because it's amazing, but you never knew he was there because you just bought something off the auction house.
I don't know what the question was, but I completely agree with Chaos.
And you kind of need to appreciate all those gray shoulders because, oh my gosh, shoulders finally dropped. You're so happy about that.
Every tiny bit on your way to whatever level you get with the character is meaningful, and it makes you plan differently the game. It's not like I'm gonna run this dungeon 20 times to maximize the time I have to level, or like minimize, I mean. But it's more like, what if I choose these talents instead of those that make more damage, but I have, like, Rogue is like great example. You have lots of talents that reduce the cooldowns of your survivability abilities, or like the druid that, well, if I play feral druid on hardcore, I first go to balance tree to get Omen of Clarity because it can make all the difference, or the 10% melee damage that you get along the way. those kind of things are just different than the softcore leveling or the gaming, and it doesn't even have to be those rares or epics that you might get. It's swiftness potion recipe that you might get dropped. You'll have like tailoring up to 200. You get a swiftness potion recipe drop, and you think, am I going to fucking drop alchemy for this?
I did that.
Tailoring for yeah.
I did that on my priest. I got to 60. I had tailoring to 140. I picked up the recipe and was like, right. I spent like 3 hours farming herbs just so I could use it now.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And then you need to ponder what happens if I die next.
Yep.
But you also need to have the money to buy the talents, and you need to have the money to, just traveling about, unless you want to actually walk everywhere. The flying costs, that's really expensive. And you
Dude,
don't
flying
think
costs are insane. That's true. That's true.
But you kind of don't think about that when you normally play the game through. But when you're the money depends on those everything that you want to have big bags so you can collect all the stuff that drops, because you need to sell all these hair and hooves and whatever you get, because you are really depending on the money.
Yeah, and you've got to think in classic, no matter, depending on what version of the game you know more so, classic it's the hardest because it's the first. We can all agree TBC and Wrath, they obviously nerfed the open world, they buffed the players with talents and stuff like that. But for money, for example, there's some talents that you realise that aren't any good, so you don't use them. You don't buy it until you're level 60, so for a priest, something obviously resurrection, there's no point of buying it, so you save some gold. Other spells that you don't think you're ever going to use, like touch of weakness, I never touched, so I never bought it. It was just you have to plan it that much, because then you've got to think you have to get to level 40 to get a mount, and it's 90 gold on classic.
Dude, fuck.
And it's 900 gold to get the epic mount at 60.
On my mage, I ground. This is actually a good tip for those who want to get mount money at level 40 or close to level 40. Go to Stranglethorn Vale. You have those basilisks. You grind them from 38 to 42, and you're gonna have your gold. And because they drop so much gray stuff and they stack, so it's actually pretty good gold. And another thing is fishing is suddenly really important and valuable.
Yes.
Oh,
It is.
Because
Unfortunately,
loves fishing. Everyone loves fishing.
I don't know. I hate fishing so much.
I hate fishing.
I
hate
never.
fishing.
And I remember back in the days in Classic, the other Chaos, he was always like, "Oh yeah, I love the fishing," and he was always fishing when we were waiting to the raid to start, or after the raid or whatever. He was always fishing, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? That is so boring. I can't do that." And then I had to do that in Classic, in the hardcore stuff, because that's just really good food and that serves nicely. So, yeah. And especially if you have a hunter and you need to feed your pet, well, you kind of need to make that food for your pet as well.
So do you ever keep track of your characters, of how many you've had over the years?
There's no way of keeping track of that many. Not for me, anyway.
How many hardcore characters?
Yeah.
Oh, he does. He has a number, I
9.
believe.
9. I have 9 characters.
That's 5, or in total?
In total. 1 has survived, and 1 got retired because I didn't have time to play.
Oh.
So what
that was in Season of Mastery, because my mage got up till 40, and then I realized with all the moderation work and all the work that went into Road to Ragnaros upkeep, it was like a second job at that time, so I really didn't have any time to even play, so I just parked the character.
It sounds though like a whole different game, from what you guys described. It's like a survival game suddenly. It's not, good old World of Warcraft. It's Valhalla combined with World of Warcraft and some shit. I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
not a
there
bad
are-
summarization.
Yeah.
Some
So
stuff.
basically, what was your favorite character of those?
Well, it's of course my Tauren Feral Druid Ironbiscuit.
Of course.
I currently go online.
I mean, I was about to ask. Sorry, go on.
Yep.
Because now the servers are gonna be officially live. So, would you have like a ranking system for the classes?
Mm.
The best class is the one you know the most.
Yep,
Like
I
that.
agree.
That's the rule of thumb for every player. And after that, it goes how good are you in the game, how very varied you are in the game, what you want to play. Then you can have like more subjective tier lists, if you will. But the rule of thumb is that the class you know the most that you can operate with when you are in I have 7 mobs on me,
Right.
panic. There are like people at the door in real life kind of stuff. That's when you realize what's the best class in that sense. But it's not warrior until it gets there.
was about to say.
For warriors, yeah.
Poor warriors, yeah. Oh man.
It's a surprising how much game knowledge people think they have of a game,
Right.
especially World of Warcraft, until they have to do something like hardcore and realize certain quests. You think, oh, these are a piece of cake, and you get slapped instantly, and you're like level 30. The most prominent one I know is Test of Endurance. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
No.
The one
So
Oh yeah,
it's in Thousand Needles.
Yeah.
You have to go into a
Oh,
harpy
yeah.
cave, and you press a box, and the boss spawns. Now in TBC and Wrath, I think the named mob spawns straight away with a couple of ads, and it's pretty easy. In Classic, you have 3 waves
Yeah.
of like 2-3 mobs, and then you have the final person come. A lot of people don't know that, and they go into that cave at level 30 and they die.
Dude,
Because
caves are
people
dangerous.
don't know it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Caves-
just remember all the times I died that I didn't even really care, and at low levels. So I'm like, how would that go if I start a fresh hardcore character? How many times I would die?
Yeah. How many
Yeah, exactly.
times do you still try again and again?
Well,
When-
how long ago was Season of Mastery? 3 years, and I'm still doing it. So
I remember back in the days, like 3 years ago, when I first heard about the hardcore stuff. That was kind of kept as a trophy kind of thing of like it was a title that you could gloat with because it got your name to the Wall of Fame and you got your hardcore to 60. Is that still the similar stuff nowadays when everyone is kind of doing this?
unfortunately not. If you kept up to date with a lot of stuff, there was issues with the website that they were using, and it got had to be brought down because it was used by a third party that stopped essentially responding. So we lost accessibility to it, the mod team that is. And they started making it, a new one was started to be developed. If you go to the same URL now, you'll still find a hardcore classic website, but unfortunately due to time commitments or whatever by the team that were making it, it never got finished. So I don't know if it was other stuff got involved or something like that. I don't know the ins and outs, but unfortunately the leaderboard wasn't something they finished in time.
What about
as far as I know, I think they have the data, or most of the data still. I don't know, like from the very beginning, they should have. When I say they, I mean a couple individuals, but yeah, the time stuff like this takes is massive.
Yeah.
It was kind of doable in the beginning when the community wasn't like it was less than 10,000 people.
Yeah.
It was doable, but now when there's like over 100,000 people,
Wow.
130 by last count on the Discord.
Yeah, it's just for
Yeah.
for a bunch of volunteers, it's insane. And even with the add-on, which like checking an add-on, the verification code takes around 5 minutes. If everything's fine, you don't really have to do more than 5 minutes. But when someone dinged 60, when there was no add-on, when we were still using that, people had to record their runs. From level 1, they pressed the recording button or on OBS or whatever, and when they got to level 60, they stopped the recording. And then there was some lucky volunteer who had like 8.5 days of gaming footage to go through in 8 times or 16 times the speed, and it took like 10 to 30 hours per run. And if it was nicely like archived, it was so nice. But when it was like 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 clips, no naming, no nothing, and you had to like parse everything through, you wanted to send a very nicely worded letter to the person after you went through all those things. And I didn't know. I went like 10 to 15 runs myself, and I know people who went even more and took so much time in their day to have someone's name on the leaderboard for the achievements they had in the game mode.
So, okay, let me get something straight, because I'm amazed at the moment in my head, and I want to keep the amazement. So, before the add-on, and correct me if I'm wrong here, right? And even with the add-on, from what I can understand, everything was managed by the community.
Yeah,
Everything's always been managed by the community, a small team of.
It's been the biggest DIY community I've been a part of.
Holy fuck! Really?
If somebody doesn't know how something is done, they'll figure out a way and they'll tell others how to do. And if somebody isn't doing something, or something isn't done, then somebody picks up the slack and does it for everyone. That's how it kind of went. And that's why, and that's the short version of how did we get these servers. Those are the grassroots.
So you guys had to manage everything, like from looking at the footage to verify that this whoever got their run and got the 60, they did it in legitimate ways.
Yep.
They didn't trade, they didn't use auction house or whatever. And then this is and all these years there was zero help from Blizzard. Nothing.
They were in the outskirts, or like in the perimeter, on the outside looking in, helping with Seasons of Mastery, like with the Soul of Iron buff, for example. But mostly, and this might be something that Chaos can chime in better, but mostly it's they've not been active within the community, but they've.
I can say there's been so. How long ago was it? There was a number of months ago when there was just a boom of popularity. I'm assuming some streamers started trying it or something like that. Something got put out there outside the normal people.
Wasn't that like 6 months ago or something?
Yeah, maybe about.
Are you talking about this? Because yeah, that's true. I saw that as well.
Yeah, maybe about 6 months ago, it exploded. The community was always growing a bit, but suddenly it was like, in the space of a couple of days, 10,000 people had joined the Discord. And then in the space of a week, we'd gained almost 50,000 people.
I bet it was because the raids were really boring. We were waiting for the next phase, and that was so boring. And that's when, like, have you noticed that there's always the same sort of especially before the phase 3 got released and now the phase 2 got released? Have you seen the increase of the population on every time when people get bored?
phases and new game releases were always a factor. So when Wrath was initially released, obviously it slowed down a little bit.
Mhm.
But there's only so much you can do while you're waiting for stuff. You can only make it to 80 and grind as much. When new games came out, Diablo came out. Obviously, there was a bit of a lull. When other games came out, there was a bit of a lull, but people always came back to it. It might have been a few weeks or something like that. The most recent Wrath phases, not so much, purely because I think current classic stuff like that has become very much from what I've heard anyway, because I don't play it too much myself, sort of a min-maxing area. So you come in, day release, that's it, you've cleared it. A load of guilds have cleared it instantly. I don't think ICC will be the same, honestly, but we expect that to be the case, even on the official server that's out. ICC will be out maybe in a few months, and there will be people that will stop playing so that they can obviously go and kill the Lich King again. But they'll come back, because once you've killed the Lich King, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas hardcore is always something different.
And I also know that there's a lot of people that are still thinking the golden days, and that was in classic. So we kind of want to go back, and I know a lot of our guildies and the officers as well, because the Sparks was created in classic, and we had so much fun, and the guild was really different, more of like a family than it is maybe nowadays anymore. So we kind of like want to go back and feel the same stuff again and go through all those. And a lot of people say that the classic is better than TBC or Wrath.
I think it's just the feel of it. In my personal opinion, TBC and Wrath aren't hard to play. They're very much more of a grind than they are anything.
Oh yeah.
It's with any expansion that comes out, it's always getting to that new expansion to experience it and experience the raids and the dungeons. That's the draw. But you've also, with something like World of Warcraft, unless you've got a boosted character, you've still got to slog through, 1 to 60 in Azeroth, then you've got to do 60 to 70 in Outlands, then you get to Northrend, and you've still got to do that before you can start doing Endgame. Whereas Classic, it is a grind, but it's a grind, but it's all there, it's all together. And there is a lot of story that's linked into each other. You've got quests that you get in the Barrens at level 15, 20 that you actually sort of come back to it later when you're at level 40, and you're like, oh yeah, I did that quest earlier. Oh, that's the bit of the story to it. So it's all connected at that point. Whereas, once you get TBC, you leave Azeroth and that's it. It's all there, and nothing's linked to it. It's just all there. Same with Northrend. Once you go to Northrend, it's all in Northrend. There's no reason to go back anywhere.
Do you ever read those quests when you accept those, especially on hardcore? Do you just
for me, it's not the same. But to briefly go back into the previous thing, there are parallels to how classic is the beginning of the game, and how back in the day you didn't really know anything about the game. Everything was in a way new. You had to figure stuff out, and hardcore gave that feeling a new breath of fresh air, because suddenly you couldn't die, you couldn't trade, and that's new, and it's all in Azeroth, and it sparked the same feeling, at least for me. Like I said, I almost quit WoW because I felt like this game no longer had anything to give to me.
Almost. I remember when we were in Karazhan doing your last raid, and we had the fucking double line that you walked to. You did quit. But
I did
back.
quit, yeah, but I had to come back for Road to Ragnaros because I was like, there were 2 EU mods who was running it on EU, so I had to come back because it would have been impossible not to. But and then that was like the pull that I'm still playing the fucking game. But yeah,
You do not get away. You do not escape.
It's like clapping. Once you start, the first time in your life when you clap,
Cheeks
you can't
or
stop.
hands?
It's you always.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the spaces between claps are like weeks or a couple seconds or half a second, but you always claps after you've started. And another thing was that you could really like focus on different things. You didn't have to be the best player, or you didn't have to carry your own weight to make others be able to finish a raid, for example. You just had to stay alive, and you could focus on your UI. You could lower the brightness of your screen so that Terrorful Glades would feel more scary, or you could play in first-person mode. All those little things made the game feel new, in a way. An old game that is a familiar game, but you get to experience and explore in a different way. And when we and the community after I left, like duplicated it time and time again, more people got involved, and then they told others, and then more people joined, and that's how it kind of snowballed into suddenly 50,000 people joining when someone big enough told their friends and followers.
So, okay, from a
You're
from
gonna
a
try
di-
this now, huh?
I'm thinking about it. That's true. I am thinking about it. So from starting from a very DIY community where everything was close knitted and volunteers were looking for things, making sure that everything's okay, and you basically the community had the silent agreement that we're going to go by the rules and not fuck up. Then the add-on comes up, which helps with a lot of things, I bet. The sudden boom of popularity, like you guys mentioned, and now we got to official heroic servers. I wanted to ask you guys: do you, before we go into what should we expect from the official heroic servers? Do you guys feel, yeah, hardcore? You're right. Do you guys feel vindicated, or would you like to keep a semblance of control, I should say, with Blizzard chiming in and out to help you with the hardest parts, and not like completely surrendering everything to Blizzard? I don't know if I make any sense, but
Yeah, I get what you mean. Personally, for me, because I'm no longer part of the moderation team, I feel like this is, well, it's sort of like an end of an expansion, like
Mhm.
the DIY only within the community part or within communities at this point changes into an official Blizzard version of hardcore. It doesn't mean that the DIY stuff ends. It just changes form or lives in a parallel universe in a certain way.
Right.
Because I know people who are still going to be playing in Hydraxian or on Bloodsail Buccaneers or Remulus on Oceanic,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever Blizzard does is they have the servers, they have the game
Yeah.
mode, and it's two different things, and it's an end of an expansion in that sense.
Did Blizzard ever contact your team about this? Or did they just announce, like, oh, hey, we're going to do the hardcore servers?
I don't know the exact details, but yes, there was some contact between a member of Blizzard Development and members of the mod team that were not me. Because from a business perspective, obviously Blizzard are a company, they want to make money, they want to keep subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
If they've seen something's become popular, then
Yeah.
and there's enough people, that's, you've got to think, if we've got 140,000 people on Discord, if they bring out a server and they think, oh, if will 130,000 people pay a subscription just to play hardcore server for a month, that's what, $8.99
Yeah.
for every person. They've made some money, and the server's not going to be difficult to make. It's still going to be the era servers. They've just had to tweak a few things, so they've not had to make anything new.
Mhm.
They've just had to tweak a few bits and pieces inside it to sort of match with it. So it's not like they've had to create a new game. So from a business perspective, yes, we've seen something popular that our people want. Let's do it. What's even better is some of the developers. Like there's a few YouTube videos out there you might see with the interviews with a gentleman called Agrand,
Yeah.
who is one of the developers. He plays on the servers. He plays hardcore with the add-on. So that's Blizzard themselves have joined in
cool.
something that has been built by a community.
Oh, that's awesome.
And to
Yeah.
me, that's a win. That is what you've always. That is a
Yeah,
yes. It's not a we're in charge of things, but we're never going to. We're not going to suddenly get hired by Blizzard. No one ever thought that was going to happen. But to say, this thing you've built and this community have built has been recognised by the people that have made the game, and we've gone, yes, this is a good idea. One of our developers has loved what you've done. We want to make it official, and they've rolled with it. So yeah, it was always the end goal, without speaking names just yet, people that were there at the very beginning that helped build it to what it was. That was the end goal, to make it recognize that this is what people want, and they've done
Right.
it. They've succeeded.
Right.
Yeah, I really have to agree with that point, that to do something in Warcraft that's been around for decades, the game that people have played for decades, and the thing that you work in that game becomes actually official in the books, part of Warcraft's history. It's something to be proud of. It will have, and of course has shades of gray within, but like at the end of the day, maybe not the end goal, but the end dream, to like actually have the thing legitimized, that people like it and it has left a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing you'll hear compared now is purely what Blizzard have released compared to what the community have been playing with the add-on, the Solar Self-Found Rules.
I was gonna.
But
I was gonna add.
they've acknowledged that and said we might add. There's a chance we're going to add something like that later. Again, you've got to think that people are going to be. It's not just going to be all the people on the community that play it. It's going to be a lot of people outside the community that decide to play it just for the sake of playing it. So there's not just us. There's other people. So they can't just cater for what we want. They want to make it sure that everybody has fun playing it, and there are plenty of people that enjoy the solo self-found. There's plenty of people that don't. They just want death equals delete, because that is what hardcore has been on many games. You die, you delete your character, you start again. That's it. Fine. But they have acknowledged that, yeah, you know what, there were lots of aspects of solo self-found that they see that is enjoyed, that they themselves have enjoyed playing. They've said on the interviews they're not going to do it at launch, but it is something they might look at later on. Whether that's an achievement, a toggleable to things like no banking, no trading, no auction house. It could be something you toggle on and off or something like that. Or if they introduce an achievement system, we don't know. But they've acknowledged that it is a thing, and it could be something they add later, which is, taking what we've done and going, this is the acknowledgement. This is what you built. Here it is.
So, how much do you think that the hardcore stuff will change now with the server compared to like the add-on days, or even before the add-on days? Like there has been talking about the auction house, that you can use that, and you can use this and that, and you can trade, and you can do dungeons now every day, and not just once per dungeon.
I think it will have a similar effect as hardcore when you first started hardcore. Now it's when you first start the Blizzard version of hardcore. It's just a new approach to the game, and it might go somewhat closer to what era servers or Wrath servers are, because you can group up more freely. But it's a different approach. I have my thoughts about it, but I'm also like really willing to look at how it starts and how it goes and how it evolves. And I don't want to I want to have an open mind at the end of the day. That's when I start.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I'm going into it.
So we've talked about the community and how helpful people have been and how healthy it is to play the game, to develop it, right? On the opposite note, though, we've also noticed about a lot of griefing. Have you been griefed at all in your
Dude, that guy
on your
in the
character?
premise, fuck,
Yeah.
man.
I have only ever been griefed once, and it was in Season of Mastery. I was a level 19 gnome mage, and someone bought Terminus into Stormwind, and I couldn't get away in time.
Oh,
That was it. Apart from that, I've never actually been in a position to. I've spent my time fighting griefers.
Ah.
I lost a 39 undead priest at one point, and I actually leveled it to 40. Got people that had died to send me their gold before they deleted. Got them out and started chasing griefers down and killing them. So,
Vengeance.
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
that's also it comes really useful to follow the Looking for group chats because they used to announce about the kiters and those, but now in the new upcoming hardcore server, I heard that they will have these the kiting thing, and that doesn't work anymore because the mobs have a spot
Yeah.
where they go back
They're-
to if they go
They're
too far.
fixed now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart. That's smart.
Yeah, and I think, well, we'll see when we'll see it, but they should be handing like harsher punishments to griefing. Like there should be a no tolerance policy, apparently.
Yeah.
I haven't been griefed. I have been tried, but because, like I said earlier, I managed the appeal systems
appeals,
for a
yeah.
while.
Mm.
I kind of got good at realizing what's going on in the game, and I haven't been griefed myself, but I've spent at least tens hours gathering footage to be sent to Blizzard to show that certain players are constantly violating the TOS of the game by griefing others.
Right.
And I felt I was grieved by that.
Makes sense.
Time.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. So what percentage of the appeals were due to griefing?
During Season of Mastery, when the first times griefing got popular in a way,
Right.
I think that's, I'm pulling numbers out of my ass, but it was like every fourth appeal at least was from griefing.
So I'm gonna beat that one to say that as of some months ago, we actually have a griefing death appeal channel separate
Oh fuck!
because there were so many. Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Like, we made a appeal team. I just watch over it now. I don't tend to do much myself because they get to it before me. There was a group of people that were making it their business to constantly. They were on. You're looking at daily for hours. A hunter running around with elite mobs. Rogues stealthing over respawn points and things like that. One of the big reasons that Blizzard actually got involved was because even though yes, it was griefing a game mode that wasn't official, they were making it impossible for people to progress, say, past the escort quest in Westfall, the Defias escort quest. They would stand there for hours killing the escort quest or killing the
Killing the dude on the I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
So they would spend hours, and we are talking to the point where at one point for an entire 24-hour period, people could not progress past that point, and that's one of the things that made them fully realize, because that is against their TOS, is blocking people from progressing. It doesn't matter that it was in a solo a made up game mode that people have made. They couldn't progress in the game.
Right.
And that's one of the main things that flagged it up for a lot of people, because they were doing it for a while before they stepped in. But then they stepped in and realized, oh, they're doing this, and then they finally started handing out, like, they had to do the 1-day ban, 3-day ban, 7-day ban, and then some of the griefers did get their accounts permanent banned.
What do you think? What kind of person would do this?
Someone that's bored.
Yeah.
Like, I always wonder, like, why? What makes you log online and just, stay there 12 hours straight and ruin someone else's gameplay? Like, what do you gain from that?
I don't know. I mean, people throw
It's-
garbage out of their car windows while they're driving as well. I
Yeah.
don't know why they do.
It's people being people in the world. It's there was an amusement for it, and the thing is, we're all a little bit guilty of it. You've probably all watched video clips sometimes where someone screwed over someone else in the game, and you found it's been a bit funny at the time, but it's happened once, but you still laughed at it, but these people are doing it so much, and people were enjoying what was happening because it wasn't happening to them.
Right.
So they didn't care. They found it funny. Then they made it more popular because they were doing it. There was a bit of a personal, I think. I don't have definite details, but there was a bit more of a personal attack on certain members of the mod team that they didn't agree with. They didn't agree with the appeal system, things like that. So they decided they would just, it was more of a, oh, you're going to get appealed anyway, so we can do it. You're not actually losing anything apart from time.
I mean,
Yeah, and they're also making a name for themselves, right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that kind of feeds into it. So I mean, it makes sense. Have you seen all these movies, these post-apocalyptic environments where the society is suddenly lawless, and there's this group of people doing degenerate things? Yeah,
Yeah.
these are these people.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's really good comparison.
There
but
was a time. Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
we're psychologists now.
Yeah,
yeah.
but it takes skill to be that person, though, right?
I don't get paid
Yeah,
enough
true.
to do that yet.
There was a time that my YouTube was bombarded by streamers doing hardcore stuff. Not only the deaths, but trying, raiding, etc. Do you think that attention that the hardcore servers got, was it all in a good way, or did it involve more of these peoples that we mentioned in as well?
There
You
were a
can only-
couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
There were a couple that weren't saying. There were a couple that you were thinking. You'd probably think, I wish he hadn't come along, because unfortunately, when you've got a big streamer join, you've also got their followers and fan base join.
Hmm.
And certain people that came along, a couple I could say, if we have issues with it, I think are great. I've watched a couple of their streams. I've played with one of them, and yeah, they were great guys, and the community they brought with them, and these two particular people were having, you're looking at maybe 3,000 viewers per stream,
Mm-hmm.
and they all came along, and it was great. But then you found a couple that came along, and the streamer themselves were a bit, okay, he's one of those type of streamers. And that means the community that followed him or her weren't that, they didn't mesh well with how we were trying to play the game, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, and like the game mode kind of started in 2020 when there was this bit of a pandemic going on,
Mm-hmm.
and for many of the players and for the mod team and those who joined after, one of the key things was that it was escapism, the game that you
Right.
got to chill out after whatever shit was going on in real life, and you had friendly faces, like helpful people around, and it was also more like we rolled on to RP servers. We had like name policies, like we are on RP player server. Like, let's be nice to them and help each other out. Don't be dicks. We only just want to play the game, and that works well when you have a small community or smaller communities within certain ideals.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have 3,000 people joining with a streamer and they are not necessarily knowing of these things, or just want to have fun, and have seen a couple griefing with videos and whatnot, it makes tension and friction between people, and I think that's something that just happened over time.
I also noticed, like,
I forgot the question in the middle of my sentence. I got fucking rambling there.
It's fine. I do that too. I get it.
back in those days when you were playing hardcore and you went to pick up a quest, or you were waiting to kill the ex-boss, there was a queue waiting for there was a queue of people waiting their turn. And now when I got back, I have came back for 2 times now, and the last one was the 6 months peak that Chaosend talked about. And I noticed that people are not doing that anymore. They are just actually waiting the boss to spawn, and everyone with their Insta stuff trying to tag the boss to themselves. And I was looking at that like, what the that's not polite. And I was trying to like ask in the guild, like, are the people not really actually queuing the stuff anymore? Because I felt that like the something is missing from the nice, friendly, hardcore atmosphere when there's no that I will just wait here my own turn and then I go. But no, there was like, I'm sorry.
You clearly have never seen Greeks line up to get into anywhere in a museum, anywhere. Queues are like, what is a queue? It's like
for old people. Are you saying that?
So that comes down to the amount of people. You said you did it 6 months ago. There might have been 4 or 5 people queuing.
Yeah.
I've gone to start a character. I've got to Zdeyn the troll on the Echo Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been 20 people waiting.
Yeah.
And Zdeyn has a respawn time of about 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
And this was before they introduced layers. So you've got to think 5-6 minutes wait time, 20 people when you get there. I was like, I can level another character in that amount of time and probably get further than where I am now. At one point, we just said to people, it became a thing of just don't bother. You can kill, 10 mobs and get the same amount of XP and maybe some loot in the bit. But at a time, it was people wanted to wait, and then people went, "Why the hell am I waiting for over an hour for a spawn mob? I'll just try and steal it." And they just descended into chaos.
I waited that same chicken troll for 2 hours, and there was always a lot of people. Well, I had nothing to do.
2 hours?
Yes, on the fucking island. And there was always someone that is really, really fast or whatever, so that they were able to tag that. And I was like, oh shit, but no!
It was just people just started making attack macros.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a simple thing to do.
And then I see, okay, there's this one person. Okay, I will help you to kill that, so it's a bit faster. And then I go to the line, and I'm like, okay, I'm the only one. And then you see the fear in your ass.
Me. That's
like
me.
waiting. Who is coming next? And then there's 5 more people coming. Like, oh.
That would be me. You would be waiting for 2 hours, helping other people, and then I would come in from out of fucking nowhere, and I would just tag the mob. And
especially if you're a shaman or a mage, that was it. As soon as you're a shaman or mage, you're not getting that tag.
Yes. The other mob was near the ratchets. Those.
Kreenig.
Yeah. Oh Lord. 2 days. I was 2 days in that fucking spot trying to get attacked.
Well, after a certain while, you just need to give up, Just move on.
But, when that goes past that certain point, then you're like, I am not giving up, okay?
Are you also waiting on traffic lights for everyone else to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That explains a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
I am that person who stands there and doesn't cross the road, even though there's no cars coming, if the light is red.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Are you lagging in real life too? So you can take a risk?
Yeah, that's it. She's like in real life.
I got one question for you guys. So now that the official servers are out, and I know, of course, a lot of people are eager to play, is there the option for the ones that are already progressing with the add-on to keep on playing? Like they've reached a certain point, like raiding like traumas or doing whatever. Do they have the option to keep on playing on that one?
You can't transfer if that's what you mean.
No. I mean, they can continue playing on the servers like with the add-on and just continue playing there, or will that be stopped? Is there any insight from Blizzard?
The Era servers are going to continue being open, and the development team of the add-on are going to continue to support it going forward, because there are people that will use the add-on on the official servers because they enjoy the solo self-found aspect of it, but they want to be where other people are. They like, that's the big thing though. Era will very much die out a bit now. Whether for a little bit or people come back or not, I don't know. But Era will get quieter. But some people like that. They like playing on an empty server, especially for something like hardcore, where other people can be the reason you die quite often. So
Yeah, and that's usually that question has surfaced when there's a patch coming or when there's like TBC or Wrath coming. That can I continue my character? And it's your character. Of course you can continue it. Like, go ahead. The game mode might or the events might change, but if it's a solo self-found character, why couldn't you continue? Have fun.
Chaos. Since you have a lot of characters that have died, and you have also those that survived, do you usually play like really carefully, or do you just play as normal but maybe not doing that big risks?
depends on what I'm playing and the mood I'm in.
Do you enter caves?
Do you
Sorry?
get?
Do you enter caves, or do you
Yes.
avoid them? No, I see.
Because I was thinking, if you actually get, do you enjoy the gaming if you feel too careful? Like you have to ponder, can I pull this mob, or should I do this quest? What if this quest summons something that I can kill?
I tend to do as many quests as I can, purely because I like skipping certain areas if I can, because I detest them with a passion. But yeah, it depends. It will definitely come down to what character you're playing, what mood you're in on that day. So let's put Yaz's favorite hunters in the picture.
Yes.
Everyone expects hunters to always survive, yet they die more than mostly because of overconfidence, because people think you've got your pet, you've got your feigned death or something like that, or if you get high enough, and then without even realizing it, you've pulled a couple of mobs. They've pulled an extra one axe. You've gone to pull a couple of mobs. You've accidentally pulled 3. Your pet suddenly gets squashed. Your feigned death gets resisted, and you're dead. And literally 5 seconds, you're like, I'm a hunter. I'll be fine.
I can so relate to that. Yep.
Yeah.
Only
I had
one
done
thing.
I had done so stupid mistakes as a hunter as well.
Only one thing comes to mind. Murlocs. Do you avoid
Fucking
Murlocs?
Murlocs, man.
no,
Fucking
never.
Murlocs,
Kill
man.
Murlocs with a passion.
Fucking Murlocs.
Stay away of those fucking Murlocs.
Yeah, that's the only
Like-
place I ever die on any character. Ever.
Don't go to caves. Stay away from the Murlocs.
I kill
Probably-
Murlocs with a passion.
It's probably Murlocs and Harpies, maybe?
Harpies mainly
Whatever
because a
traps.
lot of them can execute.
I kind of don't like the quill bars either.
Actually, I want
Cowboys.
to change my answer.
Centaurs
mob-
too in Barons,
mob-
right?
Mobs that summon other mobs, like warlock mobs and
Right.
and mobs that trap. Those are the death
Trap.
traps.
Well, let us ask you this: what do you think is probably the most common thing that, let's say, mob, as you're starting off, that kills people?
Oh, I would have said fall damage for sure, but
No,
Right.
it's a mob.
it's a mob. Huh?
There's a specific mob that is probably, well, depending on which faction you are, that is responsible for most of the deaths starting off with.
The Alliance thingy, the what's his face?
Hogger.
Who?
Hogger.
Yeah, Hogger. Hogger?
Nope.
Fuck.
He's up there, but he's not the highest.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not allowed to answer, am I?
You know the answer.
You're cheating, you know
Yeah.
it.
So
already.
on Alliance, the Defias, Pillagers, Assaulters, the most of the mobs in Westfall are the main source of death, because the gap between leaving Elwyn Forest and Westfall there's a little bit of a gap. So if you go straight from Elwyn to Westfall, you're probably going to die. And in horde, it's Skull Rock and Gazus and his Voidwalker.
Who are
Oh.
these guys?
Ooh,
Exactly. Who
yeah.
are these guys? Just random mobs. You wouldn't think of it, but
Mm.
they are there. Like in TBC, it's a Quantion in Ghostlands. That level 13 elemental you summon at the bottom of the lake.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, he's the one that kills most starting people because he's a normal mob that's got like 600 HP, is immune to like gouge and stuff like that and stuns, and just destroys you if you're not ready.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
Fuck
but it's
that
just
one.
little mobs like that they kill more people than anyone realizes. Like, why'd you die to that? Because they does. Because you don't think
And-
about it. You know, now everyone knows. Everyone goes, yeah, we stay away from this person.
Yeah,
But-
and you're kind of the weakest from levels 10 to 20.
Yeah.
At 20
Especially if
you'll,
you're a hunter. That is so bullshit.
yeah. I mean, you'll get a good amount of like skills and your first big talents at level 20, but before that you are kind of vulnerable. And after you get the first big talent, then you're gonna die at level 22 because you think green mobs are shit and you can do whatever you want.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how my first
Yeah.
character died.
Yep.
Have you ever died to fall damage?
I have.
I have as well.
I have died to fall damage at level 57
Oh no! What?
on my level 57 on my elemental shaman.
Were you that
in-
guy in Asmongold's video where he was tanking and he was in Blackrock, I think, or whatever, and he fell down and he died?
Oh no, this is way more embarrassing.
Oh.
Oh no.
I
More than
I-
that? Wow.
I died in Undercity elevator
Oh.
because my coda mount didn't fit through the
Oh,
elevator door.
yeah.
I had my auto walk on and I was
Mhm.
editing my macros and that's how I died.
Yeah. I can see that happening to me.
I
too.
can make you feel a bit better if you like iron.
I like that is the reason why I don't go to Undercity on my hardcore. I have so no, I hate that place because I
Just-
feel that with my laggy computer, I'm gonna hit nope.
But there's an easy solution that people don't take. Go in the sewers
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
and
but I
exit the
never
sewers, but
remember
people
when-
don't.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually remembered that once, but I felt it was too much of a hassle.
If it makes you feel better, Iron, we had a level 60 warlock join the guild, Victory Guild, and then an hour later he died to the Undercity elevator.
If he needs to talk or they need to talk, you can send them my way.
Yeah, level 60, just dinged, joined the guild, was ready to go, died.
Can you make a psychological helpline about
Yeah,
those
yeah,
people?
you should have. You should.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the you can play whichever faction you want, but absent mind is the killer as well. And
If we-
AFK.
Hardcore Deaths Anonymous. Same
If
thing.
we quickly talk about before we end, about the deaths and the appeals, what is? I want to hear you both saying your own answers. Which one has been the most insane application? The what is the word for the death appeal? Appeal, yes.
Yep, the most insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Like when you have read that, like, what the hell are you thinking?
I think I mean, it's of course been like over a year since I last did one, but the worst ones are that offer you literally no information, but call you a dick anyway.
Of course.
But the ones
Because
that
they don't realize.
that
They don't realize though
Yeah.
what it takes for you to do your job, right? So
and not even my job, my hobby. But
yeah, your hobby. True.
I mean, the most that I hated were those where I know that the person died legit, or sorry, not died legit, but for example, had a DC,
Mm.
and
Right.
I know from their footage and the help they provide me with that it's very, very likely that it was a DC, but you have to have some sort of like lines between you throw into appeals, or otherwise it will be anarchy and chaos. So you know that they didn't do anything wrong. They died to a DC, but they can't, prove it in any way. For example, they didn't record, or they were so panicked that they forgot to take screenshots or whatever, and you just have to fail them. And that was the shittiest part, I think.
Yeah, definitely agree.
So, I have a lot of questions, but time is not our friend. I'm going to ask 2 questions. First of all, how cool is Makora that they've officially included it? I think it's
Very.
insane and cool.
Oh, they're fun. Yeah.
So cool. And 2, do you think that either one of the factions has an easier time getting to 60 because the areas are not that dangerous? Or
Racials?
yeah,
Easier time
it-
getting to 60, I wouldn't say. No. There's not a. I don't think there's a benefit.
Whichever fact, if there's let's say, Horde has 70%, then maybe the 30% of Alliance might have easier time when it comes to questing. But I don't know. I can't answer any better than that.
right.
Yeah, there's no. Each faction's got their own areas that are good and bad. No, there's not really no faction has a big advantage over it in the leveling process. Once you get to end game, there's certain things that they have benefits over the other, but to level itself, they did a well in classic. They did a good thing to keep it as balanced as they could.
Dude, I don't know. I'm so thinking about playing. On the
Yeah, we
official
will play
server.
it. You
Yeah,
know it.
come join.
We will play for maybe
Yeah,
one day.
I don't have the skills it takes, dude. It takes so much skill to actually play hardcore.
It's not just that though. Like realistically, on paper, it's easy to get to 1 to 60. You could literally just grind green mobs and not do any risky quests.
The South Park way, right?
No,
Kill boards.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and you could do that. You could level up from 1 to 60 and do nothing but kill mobs, make sure they're green, make sure they're low level and stuff like that. But let's be honest, could you do that? Would you find that fun to play? Or would you prefer playing something that makes you go, oh my god, surviving with and we've had it, people survived with 1 HP.
I had 1 HP, and I remember I was recording that, and that was so awesome. The feeling you get after that, because you think I died, and then you have that 1 HP left. That is
Yeah.
insane. You don't get that from anywhere else.
I have a question for you guys. I'm sorry, I have to ask this because you were playing Hunter. Did you ever let your feigned death run out?
No. but I know that some people have, and then there were appeals, and you had to say that it's part of the game. Sorry, mate.
Wow.
But hey, but the good news, when you said that you're not going to make it to 60, there's a person who I think they have told themselves that they are not or weren't very good in the game, not good enough to even to think about raiding, for example, and they leveled no talents naked mage to level 60.
What?
So yeah.
Yeah.
and they had a fun playing it. I watched the streams a lot, and
Holy fuck! Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So some of the
and
achievements that people have done here is insane.
and I mean, I'm 100% sure that everyone can make it to level 60 in hardcore. It's just a matter of approaching the game the way you can make it.
Yeah. We had a guy get to 60 as a hunter and took no damage for his whole run.
What?
Never
No way.
once took a single
No way.
no damage.
Yeah.
No damage whatsoever. No, not hit, not full damage, nothing. And that we had it's actually on the add-on itself, there's a load of achievements. The first person that tried it got to 58 as a mage before taking damage. And then somebody else tried it and they got a hunter to level 60 and never once took a single point of damage. So some of the things that people can pull off is just insane.
Are they like the leader of all the hunters? Like
Are they AI? Maybe.
yeah, the end hunter boss. Like
No,
what
it's
is-
just it's game knowledge. It's knowing what this mob does this. So mobs that do an instant damage cast, they avoid, or they made sure they had like nature protection potions or shadow protection potions and stuff like that before they took them on. So it was a lot of game knowledge, but it's just, you know, I can't even. I tried it. I got to level 5 before I took damage. I went, nah, screw this. I'm not doing that again. You know.
And we have people with ADHD brains that trying to remember what this boss did or this mob did when you have killed 100 of them before, and you have no idea what the fuck they do. Oh, this is a caster. Never mind.
Yeah,
I just
I
think
think
of
that-
all the characters that died on the way to achieve that.
Yes.
Dude, I looked at how many times I've died in my classic playthrough. So I've been playing for what, like a year plus now.
Yeah.
I'm playing a mage. I've started like mid TBC. I have died more than 250 times. There's no way I can survive hardcore. There's no fucking way I can do that.
but you
Yeah.
think about it differently when you go into it. You go into a quest now and think, oh, I'll give it a shot. If I die, I'll just get some friends and we'll do
Yeah,
it later.
exactly.
You knowing that die means you have to delete that character at any time, or
you
you're
can
done
group
with the
up.
run. You can
You
group
can-
up in official, but I'm saying in. So that's the big thing: is the official. There's a different rule set to the solo self-found hardcore that we've all been playing. You can group up for stuff. You can trade. You can use the auction house. So they've wanted to make it so that it's still because the game is still an MMO. It's meant to be a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
That's why they've done it like that. Well, that's what they've said they've done it like that. But that's saying in softcore, you went into a quest and you thought, I'll give it a shot. I'm a mage. I can ice block. I can AOE kite them or something like that. And if you died, oh well, I died. I'll try it again. Now you're on hardcore. You'll look at that quest and go, could I die to this? It's a very high chance. Should I do this quest now? You'll either decide, no, I'll over level and come back a bit later, or you'll go, you know what? I want the thrill of seeing if I can accomplish this. I'm going to do it. You know, think of an elite quest in whatever version you're playing at the moment that you know you cannot complete on your own.
Well, tons.
And now imagine you're hardcore and you think, you know what? I'm going to give it a try and I'm going to see if I can do this. And if you succeeded in doing it, you just feel, you want to jump up and shout and be like, yeah.
Dude,
Pretty
I'm
much.
playing a mage and I have the worst guiding mechanics on the planet.
He
There's
doesn't
no way.
know the
There's
feeling
no
of
way.
yay!
we
There's no
we
way.
did 3-man RFK with no tank, for example, or
Yeah.
Maraudon with no tank. You don't need a tank if you have a hunter, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
hunter knows how to control the pet, and you don't need 5 people. And all those things, those little things, they make the game so much more rewarding.
So on the official servers, if I group up with someone and I die, like in a dungeon, do the others have to?
No, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's better, I guess.
They can potentially replace you, or they can just carry on without you.
So previously, if you did a duo or trio with someone, like you had to be online all the time and level up together.
Yep.
Then if you died, you had everyone had to stop to that.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't live with myself.
I-
and no one would group up with me. To be fair,
I
I
did
did-
a trio in Wrath with 2 people that I knew quite well. We got to level 45 and died because one of our guys got too close to a horde encampment without realizing it and got splattered literally within seconds.
Nice.
And you're just like, what? We gave it a day and we went back and then we all got to 80. But it was just, and it's more fun. Doing a duo or trio, everyone's like, oh, it's easy. But the real life aspect of it is the challenge. And it is a lot of fun. So if you find a couple of people that just want to have a play around with it, it's definitely worth doing.
I tried with friends. That was
Yeah.
the only thing. I never do that again.
I don't know.
I know a duo people who met in hardcore. They started playing hardcore. They started a duo, and currently they are engaged. So
Yeah.
it can be
Oh,
fun.
that's cool. That's cool.
Did they made it?
Yeah.
Well, it takes a
several
lot.
times.
It takes a lot of different meaning to till death do us part.
True.
Can
Okay,
we
so
do the shoutouts?
yes, that's was the. Something like that. That was whatever. You know what I mean. This is your time, guys, to do your shoutouts.
Do I start from the beginning and KS you carry on? When
Yeah, sure.
How long
Alright.
list
You
do you have?
you'll probably name a few people that I would name, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I mean, the original stuff started with Kargoz, who started streaming Iron and leveling, and then evolved it into hardcore that the community knows. And community members, or let's say mods, active, known people, streamers, organizers like Jordy, Alenya, those guys did so much back-breaking hard work with no thanks. Unforgiven as well, Zdeyn, Funaria, Nyx, Kazatel, for example, who was the main motor in Road to Ragnaros on EU. If not for him, EU would never have done Road to Rag. Like, absolutely, he just, he saw nobody is doing it. He asked if he can start and try, and he did it. Brandung, who had the first site that we had, the verification site, the leaderboard, all the infos and stuff. Freshmaiden, Oli, Jameshc, Abbers, the level 16, no talents, no gear mage.
Yeah.
Really outdid what she thought was possible. Like really out, and she's a friend. I'm proud.
I'm proud too, and I don't even know her.
Yeah. Who else? I think Jhaman had one of the first Magora events. Also, Noob Core, that was 10-man dungeons at the most minimum level that you could enter the dungeon in. And Juno did a lot of stuff in Australia for the oceanic people. Graysfordays, I think, was one of those. Let's see if I can kill the main tiger in Stranglethorn at level 40, and dressed in a boxer's outfit and kited into guard and managed to kill it and stuff. Tactics, Tommy Salami, speedrunners. Chaos, you have to help me. Who was the person who took no damage to 60? I really drawn a blank.
So Statics was the first person who made it the challenge. The achievement is called Statics Challenge. He made it to 58. Tactics is actually the person that made it to 60 on the Hunter.
And who was the second one who did it as well on Hunter? It was...
No, Tactics was the Hunter. Statics tried to do it as a mage and got to 58. Tactics did it as a Hunter and got to 60.
Okay, because I think there was another person who made it to level 60 with no damage taking as well. And I can see his face on this streamer room, but I can't recall the name, and I'm sorry. And F's and chat, which was like a once in a week, every other week, a stream where people would watch cool hardcore clips or death clips, was with Winky. And Aprikat, who was and is, I'm not sure if she still is, but like all these 4 years has been really like an uplifting person in the community. And like I expected to start the game mode, give it a go and quit WoW, but actually Aprikat is one of my really good friends in life at this point. And that's one cool thing as well. You thought you were playing a game, but then you make connections that likely lasts for the rest of your life. And with that, I think I've read my shoutout list.
You even might have those people from the game visiting you when you're lying in the hospital bed.
Oh yeah, that might have been me when you were in the hospital.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, dear.
She's all. Can I tell the phone ringing story?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So she's almost bled to death. Like, is in the hospital, has lost so much blood. Like, drugged up to hell and back again. And
I
then
just wanted
her
to wait.
and yeah, she's trying to lead a raid in the hospital. And I'm telling her like, what the hell? And then her phone rings and it's Layers Raining Blood that's playing. And I'm like, fuck. Never change the ringtone.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
Oh, yep. I
Right.
really like the game, how much you can make friends in real life as well.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yes.
To be honest, my shouts are quite a few of the people that I've already mentioned. Aprikat is still a part of the team and is still a big positive influence on the entire community. So pretty much all the people you've mentioned are in there. The extra ones I'd like to put out there are the add-on development team. They do amazing things with this add-on now, and it is all free. They don't get paid for this. So you got Malfin, who's one of the main people. You've also got Zdeyn. Sorry, I probably said that wrong, so he's going to kick my ass about it if he hears this. Yazpad, they've taken the add-on from just here's a way not to have everyone record, to it blocks your mailbox, it blocks the auction house, it will track everything, it's got the achievements in there, things like that. These guys deserve all the praise they can for what they've built. And yeah, the mod team have done everything they can towards it. And Kargoz again for essentially starting the ball rolling for this sort of thing, whatever he's doing with himself these days. I could be here forever with loads of different people. I've worked with them closely, especially over the last few months. We've done a big reorganization of the classic hardcore Discord to sort of fit in every aspect. You've got the official, you've got the era, you've got Wrath in there. I've been working quite a lot with Nade, who's the Wrath guy, just trying to make sure they're happy as well, because they did the hardcore was quite era based, so the add-on was quite focused on era, whereas Wrath was still there, but it was once you hit 60, the add-on pretty much only really tracked you. There was nothing else there, so he's the main guy that runs all the Wrath stuff. But yeah, you could be here for hours meeting people, but anyone in the community that just helps keep things going, and has helped it get to where it is today, to the point where Blizzard have finally gone, do you know what, we think this is a good idea, here's a server for you. We got there.
Right.
That's
I want to chime in
that's
because I wanted to have as many names as I could, because so many people deserve thanks. And I went through my list with Terrell, and I forgot to name Terrell.
Terrell, yes, it's named Terrell. I forgot him too.
yeah. And like Terrell, for example, made such an extensive, from hardware to software to tips and tricks and everything you need if you want to record, if you want to stream, if you want to start out anything in that. And that, I think, was like, people could actually pay for that, like $20-30 for that information. And Terrell put it all out free to the Discord for us to ping, or to have it open for everyone who, when there was no add-on at that point, if they wanted to get their name into the leaderboard. And that's only one thing Terrell does and did. And Terrell's a good one.
You know what we're gonna do? We're going to ask you guys to list all the names, and we're going to include them in the description of the video as a special shout out, because honestly, I knew nothing about the hardcore aside from watching videos and listening to you two and Yaz, who has actually played a lot of classic, and I hope a lot of hardcore as well. I don't know. I feel like you guys made you're who made the World of Warcraft not being more than a game, actually. So for that, you deserve, I don't know, you deserve an applaud from everyone, because you made it there through sheer will and passion, and now it's an official thing, and yeah, it's a big thing. I'm gonna try it. I'm probably gonna die at level 5 somewhere, but it's fine. I'll try it again, I guess.
We go again.
Yeah, we go again.
Are you guys
Uh,
playing? Were you guys playing EU or NA?
EU.
You.
Yeah.
We'll find. We should find out our server names tomorrow.
Yeah.
There was
cool, that's
already a relation of the server names.
That's for the North Americas.
Oh, that
That's
was
the,
for
that's the
the.
NA one because their patch was last night. Ours is tonight, and we should hear where it's going to happen tomorrow.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. So, Iron, Chaos, thanks again for being here. You've been awesome. Armorath, Yaz, it's a pleasure, I should say. Anyway, I see you guys way too much. Thank you. And if anyone wants to close this off, Yaz or Armorath, or
What?
No, just see you on the hardcore servers.
yeah,
The hype
Yes.
is real.
yeah.
I
Yep.
was already thinking if I should just, like, I have done many times in special occasions that I have been just, playing through the night, kind of just stayed up, and that was for a key release as well. And I was kind of thinking that maybe I should not go to sleep next
Yeah,
What are you-
tomorrow.
if you
I kind of want to be there because this is huge.
Right.
well, if you start on Thursday, I'll see you in Zalazane Q on Friday, right?
Oh shit! No.
I won't. I'm going Alliance this time.
Oh,
What?
wow, human. Wow, bad. Anyway, the Discord's gonna be in the description. All the names are gonna be in the description. Thank you guys for making this happen. This is a very big deal, and we'll see you in the official hardcore servers now. And yeah, that was it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, and see you there.
Yeah. Thanks for being in.